on color that I did in class that a bunch of you didn't bother to show up for. So I'll go ahead and do it again. So this is my swatch menu. If I go to Window, Color, Swatches, this is the swatch menu. This is how I mainly deal with color in Adobe InDesign. If I double click, I can create any color that I like, right? You can mix and match colors, you can do things on the fly, but if I want things to be consistent, and if I'm working in something like this calendar, I do want things to be consistent, then what I need to do is, if I come back to this color and I double click, I get to the color picker, I'm going to click this button, Add CMYK Swatch. Watch down here what happens when I hit this button. I've added the CMYK swatch for this particular color to the swatch menu. And what's interesting about that is that if I decide that I want to use that color throughout the file, whether I use it in, here, let's get my paragraph styles. So let's say this is my event name, right? It's here in my paragraph styles. If I double click and I say character color and I choose that color, or if I do it the other way, if I double click and I click on this and I do speaker name, right? Assign the speaker name, and then I go into the speaker name and I say redefine the style to include the color. So I've got this color. Let me see here. Clear the overrides. So let's say I've got this, I'm using this color throughout the file, right? So I've got it here on the speaker name, I've got it here on this title, I've got it here. And I decide, hey, I don't like that color anymore. I want it to be more of a purple. If I double click here in the swatch palette and I add some cyan and I take away some magenta, I play around with my sliders, you can see that everywhere I've used that color in the file, it has changed. If I decide that I only want to have it change here and not here, whoops, sorry, I can duplicate the swatch, and then I can take this one back where it was to the dark blue, and then put that here. I can also work with tints. I can tint it back. All right. The other way to tint, if you want to work with tints, is to use the effects menu. Oops. And you'll notice that the effects menu, remember these are all the blend modes. You can use any blend mode that we used in Adobe Illustrator, you can use in Adobe InDesign, but you can also change the opacity here. So that if you have two colors that are sitting on top of each other, see that? You can create transparency effects using the opacity menu.